Hi, welcome back to another episode of Merill Talk. Today we will spend our time to discuss a country that probably you heard about it with a very interesting landscape, economic landscape. This country have been starting, like I say, like many countries here in Europe, like very well known for its farm, etc. But probably you will recognize some name there. I'm Marc, I'm your host. I'm a fund manager at Merill Funds. I've been managing money for more than 2 decades from Geneva, London and now Valletta. In our last episode of Macro Talk, we spoke about Norway, a strong convictions at Merill Funds. Now we will continue our journey in the Nordic countries. And here today we will discuss Denmark. I'm sure you know the show Viking. Today definitely it's not an adventure, but we will try to bring you on an investment journey. Probably this show gives you an idea about the Viking, have been a rude warrior raiding in England and also in France, but nevertheless, I don't think this is the right perception. Before we start our journey, let me show you for a few seconds on the screen the disclaimer. Obviously, you need to do your homework, you need to assess your risk profile. We will discuss more about the disclaimer you will see at the end of this video. If you want more insight, please, I invite you to visit first our website, merillfunds.com, but also our LinkedIn page, Merill Investor. Thank you. Let's start, as usual, with the historical context. Viking period from the 8th century to the 11th century. Denmark was a central hub of the Viking activity, but has been also raiding in France, as we know with the Normans, but also in England. Now, after following that, I will say the 14th century to the 15th century, we have the Kalmar Unions. Denmark was unified all the Scandinavian regions, including Norway and Sweden. Plus, after that, a lot of war, I will say in the 16th centuries, plus the 17th century, Denmark engaged in a numerous war with Sweden and actually lost also some land there. Lost some land in the way like they lost the land, but they gained also some other land, which is Faroe Island and Groenland. After that, there is a lot of things going on here. Denmark lost Norway, and of course Norway became, as we remember, we did the video, became a part of the Swedish territory, but they retained Faroe Islands and also Greenland. During the First World War I, they have been neutral, but they have been occupied during the World War II. Now, recently, Denmark modernized and entered in the European Economic Community in 1973, entered also an output inside the 1992. And what is interesting, and we will discuss later on about the Central Bank of Denmark, who's acting on the name of the ECB. So the Danish National Bank, the Danmarks Nationalbank, has a role to, like any central bank, to stabilize the economy, put inflation under control, and also keeping sovereignty. What's the specificity of Denmark here? It's like in 2000 they put in place a referendum and 53.2% of the population want to maintain the Danish kroner. So the Danish kroner at the moment is pegged to the euro, which is different if you think about Sweden, because Sweden has its own central bank, but the currency is floating, which is not the case of Denmark. Sovereign funds, as you can imagine, there is no sovereign fund in Denmark, but there is some pension funds who are replacing it. The last hike was in July 2022, but like I say, they're going in the directions of the ECB. So the monetary policy, it's clearly in line with the ECB. As usual, let's start with some economic figures here, and we can see here the GDP, the nominal one, we can see on the screen here. And as you know, we like also to go into the inflation, so after we can move in the directions of the GDP in a real terms. So here you can see on the screen the inflations, and now the next one will be the real GDP. As you can see, we also dig into the consumer confidence index, That's the next one you can see on the screen. And to finish, we can see the PMI here, who's reflecting the industry and the activity here on the service and the industry side. And to finish on the employment, which is the final economic figures we wanted to show you. We will start with one of the major commercial banks here in Denmark, which is Danske Bank. Danske Bank started its roots for the farmer. It was lending money for the farmers. His roots is back to 1871, so clearly emerged as the major bank here. Expansion all the 20th centuries through acquisitions and rebranding in 2000, following several acquisitions. Financial crisis tried to survive in 2008 and emerge as a very strong brand. And as we know in the recent time, not long time ago, have been in a scandal of scandals. But now I think they have been cleaned up here, and it's really clearly a major bank here in Europe. I'm sure you know Novo Nordisk. It's one of the major pharmaceutical company, and we spoke about this through our articles or videos in 2023. No one could avoid this company. As we see, for us, it's a growth company. It's similar to NVIDIA. We have our own NVIDIA here in Europe, and it's in Denmark. To give you a little bit some perspective here, the industrial productions have been increased by 50% in the past 3 years. When I'm saying industrial production, it's productions of pharmaceutical products. So it's representing now nearly 7% of the Danish GDP, which is quite an important thing. But here in this case, there is also a lot of things going on in Denmark, and there is like incubators, and the Medicom Valley, who's representing nearly 60% of the Scandinavian pharmaceutical industry, is clearly a boost here to give to the pharma industry. Back to Novo Nordisk, this company is back its roots in 1923. It's clearly a global healthcare leader dedicated to combating chronic disease, particularly diabetes. And I think everyone since last year know what's innovations and its drug to lose weight, which is Wegovy and Ozempic, who are also treating diabetes. So the market value of this company, like I said previously, have been overpassing even Louis Vuitton, which is the biggest market cap here in Europe. Denmark, even if it's the biggest market capitalization on the Danish market, there is also other, I will say, pharma or biotech company. Let me name to you Jesmond, founded in Copenhagen in 1999, specializing in antibody therapeutical for cancers and other diseases, with treatment like Darzalex and Tepaz. Now, also another one company also active in neuroscience, which is Lundbeck, been existing for more than 70 years, have around more than 5,000 professionals. So it's not stopping there. There is also Coloplast, which is a company especially specialized on healthcare, founded in 1957. As you can see, there is a clear ecosystem here in Denmark focused on pharma and biotechnology. Let's start with one of the front line for Denmark, which is the wind energy. Wind energy, it's representing or should represent already 30% of the electricity in Denmark, and tend to go in a complete fossil fuel independency by 2050s. I mean, like many of countries in the 70s have been facing the oil crisis, and I think one of the answer was pushing in a direction of renewable energy, and especially wind power. Some other countries like France have been pushing in the directions of nuclear. Now Denmark have been in the directions of wind energy, and clearly a leader in this case, in these directions. I would say specialize on offshore wind farm, and as I told you before, I used to manage a clean energy funds back to 2007-2008, and Vestas was clearly a leader in this area of renewable and wind energy. Another notable company here, it's Ørsted. Ørsted is the utilities. It's the utility here in Denmark, producing quite an important quantity of electricity. And like I said, the objective of Denmark is to be fossil-free by 2050. Let's move to one of the major sector here in Denmark. It is shipping. And in this area, DSV is a leading company and transport company being present all on the supply chain. Now, another company that it's also very well known, knowing that it's the largest container shipping company, which is Maersk. It's a conglomerate back its roots in 1904. Now, not only shipping have been a major, but we spoke about Pharma. I think they have been also active in a special chemical. And I can tell you, like I said, back 2007, 2008, I used to have on my holding Novozyme, which is producing biotechnology, industrial enzyme and microorganism. And interestingly enough, it's a spin-off of Novo Nordisk back to 2000. Now they merge with another the special chemical company to create Harmonizes. So clearly a major actors in this area. Now, as we have been covering all the sectors here, and I hope you like it, I just want to go to finish on the demographic, as we know. So to give you an idea about the size of Denmark, it's around 5 million people. Of course, there is like the aging populations of 65 and over, representing probably 21% of the population, which is not so bad. As we know, we have been very concerned about Japan, obviously, but the second in rank is also Germany. Now, what about politics? Politics, as we know, in the Scandinavian market or Scandinavian country, they are really advanced. Denmark probably is ranked, I will say, #1 in terms of democracy. We have the Social Democrat, the Danish People Party also, so it's against quite a coalition here. And I think it's very important, as we can see, because it's interesting, especially what's going on in France, who's trying to get to do a coalition. This is something quite new, I will say, for France. But for Denmark, I mean, especially Scandinavian countries, working together to find a way and a solution on the politics side with a coalition, it's already the norm, which is not the case in France. So I wanted to thanks to you, all the audience, and please feel free or put some comment here. And hopefully we will see you for a new macro talk. And I know that you really appreciate that we provide you the convictions, the strong convictions, the company we like, the country we like. Thank you for your time and hope to see you soon.